All right, baseball fans, here we go again. Another Mets game, another chance to either win it or not. Well, I mean, it's been quite a ride up until this point, a rather disappointing ride. But, what are you going to do, right? Such is life, such is baseball. And we have another chance to turn things around tonight. Now, we are running out of time, to be quite honest, right? I think we've got about maybe 40 games left, to right this ship. I don't know. I have no idea whether our boys are going to turn it around. To be honest, it's not looking so great. I think Lindor is going to be really key to the turnaround. As we know, like as Lindor goes, so does the Mets. But beyond Lindor, the bottom of the order, who did absolutely nothing last night in the third game against the Braves, I think they were completely over. I think Beatty got on once in the whole evening. We can't have that. That's completely unacceptable. So we'll see. I mean, it remains to be seen whether we're going to turn it around. I'm hopeful. I'm going to try to be optimistic about it. Either way, it's still baseball. It's still even bad baseball is better than no baseball. So yeah, let's see. Let's see how our boys do tonight against a really tough Seattle team, who's pretty good offensively, and just a great team overall. So it'll give us at least a preview if we do sneak into the playoffs of the types of teams that we're going to be expecting to face and potentially beat. So let's see if I can share my screen here and um, get our other stream back on. Poop. All right. Well, that looks like it's working, so that's good. All right, so we'll just wait for the game to start. We got Sean Manaea on the bump for the Mets. Sean has had a mixed bag, right? So obviously he's still dealing with the loose bodies in the elbow, and I guess it remains to be seen whether we're going to see the old Manaea or we're still going to see this kind of like half and half Manaea, who's shown sparks of brilliance, but just hasn't really been able to go any kind of meaningful distance. So we really need that. We got some distance from Kodai Senga yesterday, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough to put us in the win column. We got a 3-2 lead, but then we blew it and gave it right back. Ended up losing that by one run, scored a 4-3 to a much worse team in the Atlanta Braves. But again, that doesn't always mean anything in baseball. So we do it again. If the Seattle Mariners are a better team than us on paper, then maybe we have a chance to do it. Give them the Braves treatment and take some games from them. Whatever it is, this team is running out of chances to turn it around. So hopefully that starts tonight, and we'll see if Manaea can help assist that. So I believe Alvarez is back in the starting lineup for tonight. We really need him back. No offense to Torrens, but he just doesn't have the offensive potential that Alvarez has. So I was really sad, even though he is a bit better defensively than Alvarez. He's just nowhere near the power bat. So I'm actually surprised that we didn't pinch hit. We didn't throw in Alvy there to pinch hit for Torrens. I felt like it was a good idea last night, but it didn't happen. I think we had pinch hit Marte, which wasn't a terrible idea. but it was I would have rather seen Alvy there, see if he could make something happen. Oh well. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. And I think Cal Raleigh's up to 45 home runs right now, which is pretty ridiculous. As hot as some of the Mets players, I think Soto leads us in home runs, and he doesn't even have 30 yet. So it shows you what kind of season Kyle Raleigh's having for Seattle. And they have other players that are pretty good offensively. Obviously, Kyle is putting up the monster numbers, but it's a pretty balanced offensive squad there. So we got our work cut out for us. We got game time happening in about 3 minutes. 3 minutes to post time. I'm going to try not to get too excited, but I will anyway if the Mets take an early lead. We've already seen them blow a 6-run lead in the series against the Braves. So I don't want to get my hopes too much. There's no way we should have lost the game. We were up 6-0 in, but we did. Make sure my mic is on. I think it is. Let's see if we get somebody scrolling in here and kind of drop some Mets good vibes here. Key for us is going to be no more free passes. The walks have been killing us. We got to stop that. There's no way. We've been getting away with it most of the season. Now it's finally biting us like it should have been the whole time. We'll see what Mania does in terms of his walk rate. Looks like we're about to get underway here. All right, Manaya's first pitch is a ball, very high. Okay, and we got the leadoff man on. Just like that, on a single to center field. Not a great start, but let's see if we can work out of this with a double play. All right, and we got Cal Raleigh to fly out to center field. We got one down. That's a big out. Anytime you get Cal Raleigh out, because that guy can put it out the park. One and 0 to Rodriguez. All right, pitch in play. Let's see what happens. And Rodriguez doubles on a line drive to left field. And just like that, the Mariners are up 1-0. Not the start we wanted. First pitch to Suarez is fouled off, 0-1. We have a pickoff attempt at second base. The next pitch is a called strike. Suarez is down 0-2. If Manaya can get out of this inning with no more runs, that at least gives us a little confidence. We should be able to score this and get this one back. And he fouls the next pitch. We'll do it again at 0-2. Thanks for joining us if you're there watching. And Manaya gets Suarez striking out, swinging. 2 outs. That was another big out. And Canzone comes up with 2 outs. Oh, we're already down 1-0. This is not what we had in mind for a start from Manaya, but again, if we can get the next out, not terrible either. Seattle is a really good offensive team. We really can't hope to contain them all game. And Manaya gets Canzone to fly out to center field, and the Mets will come up, now trailing 1-0 in the bottom of the first. We will send up Lindor, Soto, and Nimmo. Dora had a pretty decent game last night. Um, hopefully that means that he's on his way to breaking out of this funk that he's in. We need it. We need it soon. So tonight would be a good night for Lindor to just break out, maybe get 4 hits, maybe one home run. Like last night was a game that Lindor homered in, and we lost. So if you've been following all season, you know that's actually a rarity. Usually when Lindor hits a home run, we win. He had some ridiculous streak going there for a while. I forgot how many games he got up to, but it was like the high 20s. It's giving me some kind of error sign. Let's see if I can reload here and jar this back into life. Okay. Seems to be coming back. All right. It's 1-0 to Lindor. We're going to need to crowd the bases and actually hit with runners and scored in position to be able to come up with a win tonight. Good things. Lindor worked a 2-0 count. Let's see if he can get on base. It's now 3-0. Just need one more. We can get Soto. I mean, get Lindor on for Juan Soto. And Castillo deals for the strike, 3-1 to Lindor. Lindor fouls off the next pitch. It is now a full count. Hey, well done, Lindor, with the home run to lead off the game and ties the ball game at 1. Way to go, Lindor. We needed that. And just like that, game is tied, and then we have Soto coming up. That was number 23 for Francisco Lindor, who seems to be showing signs of coming out of his horrendous slump. And it looks like Lindor went oppo for that home run. That was impressive to see. An opposite field power for Lindor. All right, Soto flies out to right field. 1 out. Brandon Nimmo up the plate. And Nimmo takes 1-0. All right. Nimmo swings at next strike, 1-1. Nimmo calls timeout. And Nimmo swings at the next pitch, and he's down 1-2. And you get the feeling that Nimmo just isn't himself unless he's batting leadoff. He takes ball to even up the count at 2-2. And outside, ball 3, full count to Nimmo. See if he can work himself a walk here. And Nimmo strikes out swinging, 2 down in the bottom of the first. And that brings up Pete Alonso. And Pete swings at the first pitch, strike 1. And Pete quickly calls timeout. Well, Pete swings through strike 2 and then calls timeout. Down in the hole 0-2. Let's see if he can battle his way back. And Pete strikes out swinging to end the inning, but not before the Mets tie it up on Francisco Lindor's leadoff solo home run. And the game is now tied after 1 at 1 apiece. Pretty darn quiet here amongst the Mets fans. I have no idea if they just checked out because of how bad the games have been going, but I can't really blame them. We just have not been playing well. I mean, we've shown little sparks here and there, but overall, we've been flat. We just need to wake up a little bit and play a little more consistently. Seattle will send up Garver, Solano, and Crawford. Manaea's first pitch to Garver is a strike, 0-1. Next pitch is way outside, ball 2, 1-1 to Garver. Next ball's way inside, 2-1. And Garver fouls off the next pitch, 2-2. And Garver fouls off the next one. We'll do it again at 2-2. Next pitch is low, full count. We cannot walk this guy. I'd rather him get a base hit than if we walked him. Next ball's in play. And Garver hits a home run, and Seattle takes the lead again, 2-1. Well, he didn't walk him, but Garver took a walk around the bases. Manaea starts off Solano with a first pitch strike, 0-1. Looks like the Mets will have to play catch up again in the next inning. Manaea is quickly ahead 0-2 to Solano. And Solano fights off the pitch. Foul. We'll do it again at 0-2. And he gets Solano to ground out. Grounds out to McNeil, who tosses over to Pete for the first out. That brings up Crawford. He's quickly ahead of Crawford, 0-2. And Crawford strikes out swinging, 2 outs in the top of the second. And we have the number 9 batter, Young. Quickly strike 1 to Young. Next pitch is a cold strike, 0-2 to Young. Young fouls off the next pitch. We'll do it again at 0-2. Next pitch is low outside corner for ball one. 1-2. And we get Young to ground out to shortstop Lindor, who flips over to Pete. Actually, he pops out to Lindor for the third out, but not before Seattle regains the lead 2-1 on a home run by Garver. And the Mets will bring up McNeil, Vientos, and Mullins, try to get this lead back. All right, here we go. Starting off, McNeil doubles on a sharp line drive to start off the bottom of the second. Way to go, McNuggets. And Vientos grounds out. 1 down. Again, I just don't know about Vientos' approach. The idea would be to get the ball somehow, some way on the right side. You got a guy on second base. Your job is to push that ball to the right side to try to get that guy over to third base. All right, Mullins ahead, 2-1. And that last pitch was way inside. And Mullins takes the next ball. Ball 3, ahead in the count, 3-1. Good hitters count. And Mullins pops out the third baseman. So there you go, a leadoff double and 2 consecutive pop outs to the third base side. You can't really make this up. It's just an extreme lack of execution. Just no situational hitting here. And that'll bring up Alvarez, who's been swinging a much hotter bat. Let's see if he can poke one to the opposite field and dunk one in for a single. 2 outs, so McNeil will be running on this play on contact. And Alvarez takes ball 1. You see where that pitch is located at. The old Alvarez would have definitely swung at that and probably missed by a country mile. The next pitch is a cold strike, 1-1. See if Alvy can do something here. And he fouls off the next pitch, 1-2. Oh, he's behind on the count. Let's see if we can get a nice clutch single here. And Alvy calls the timeout. Good move. I like that Alvy's doing this a lot more. Next ball's in play. Let's see what happens. And Alvy singles on a ground ball to center field to tie up the game. Way to go, Alvarez. All right, so the Mets answer back and tie it up in the bottom of the second on an RBI single to score McNeil, who doubled to lead off the inning. Luckily, Alvarez was able to redeem the 2 players ahead of him, Vientos and Mullins, who were unable to get the runner over. And Mauricio is quickly down 0-2. Right, the 0-2 pitch is in play. And Mauricio singles on a ground ball to right field. We needed that. Mauricio has been struggling as of late. Looks like he's just been pretty much lost at the plate. So it's nice for him to kind of get that single, start off the game. And that brings up Lindor, who homered in the first inning. And Seattle does a mound visit. All right, the Mets are putting up a fight. Seattle is definitely scoring, but the Mets have so far been able to match them tit for tat. We'll see how long that can last. At some point, the pitchers are going to have to barrel down and stop giving up runs. And Lindor, of course, calls a timeout. even before he saw a pitch. That's I like that. Maybe the pitcher was trying to quick pitch him or something. I don't know. And Lindor takes ball 1-0. Would be nice to get another RBI single here. All right, the count is now 2-1. And Lindor fouls off the next pitch. Even count 2-2. And Lindor fouls off the 2-2. We'll do it again. And Lindor singles on a sharp line drive to center field. And that scores Alvarez and Mauricio to second. Lindor having a day so far. A home run to start the game and an RBI single here in the second to give the Mets a 3-2 lead. You got to start feeling good if you're the Mets and Lindor start getting hot. Soto works a 2-1 count. Ball 3-1 to Soto. Good hitters count here. Let's see if we can pile on some more. And Soto draws the walk. So the bases are now juiced for Brandon Nimmo with 2 outs in the bottom of the second. And another mound visit from Seattle. This is the second mound visit. I wonder if they're going to pull. I thought two mound visits meant that you were pulling the pitcher. Maybe that rule never existed. Maybe I made that up. But I thought that was the rule. And Nimmo fouls off the first pitch. 0-1. You like to see the Mets add some more here, given our inability to hold the lead. And Nimmo takes ball one to even up the count, 1-1. Ball two, 2-1 to Nimmo, with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And Nimmo takes ball three, 3-1. Good hitters count. You know he's got to come in and challenge you. And he does and gets a cold strike. Full count. That was a little high in the strike zone, but still in the strike zone. And Nimmo fouls off the next pitch. We'll do it again. Full count. And Nimmo is retired by grounding out to first base. And that'll do it for the Mets in the bottom of the second, but not before they scored 2 runs on RBI singles from Alvey and Lindor to put them up 3-2 heading into the top of the third. Now we'll see if Manaea can hold this lead for the Mets. And he starts off 1-0. Called strike for 1-1. Ball 2-1. It's not looking fantastic here. 3-1. No free passes. Like if you know Manaea's delivery, he has a lot of motion in that delivery. And just like that, the leadoff man gets on a single. See if the Mets can work a double play here. He starts off Raleigh with a strike. 0-1. Dangerous, dangerous batter, Cal Raleigh. 45 home runs. I got to think if that's not tops in the baseball, that's close to it. And just like that, Cal Raleigh hits a home run blast, number 46, to put the Mariners back up 4-3. Can change just like that, folks. Seattle regains the lead and still has no outs in the top of the third. My fellow Mets fans on Facebook are probably going berserk right now. All right, Manaea, 1-2 to Rodriguez. Try to work for at least one out here. And Rodriguez fouls off the pitch. We'll do it again at 1-2. All right. One out as Rodriguez strikes out for the first out of the inning. And the first pitch to Suarez is a strike, swinging strike for strike one. 0-1 to Suarez. Very quickly, a cold strike, 0-2 to Suarez. And Suarez strikes out swinging for 2 outs. And that'll bring up Canzone. And Manaea quickly gets 0-2 on Canzone. And Canzone calls a timeout. Next pitch is way outside, 1-2. Manaea misses with the sweeper, 2-2. And Canzone fouls off the next pitch. We'll do it again at 2-2. Another ball outside, 3-2. Full count to Canzone. And Canzone strikes out swinging. But not before Seattle retakes the lead on a 2-run blast by Cal Raleigh, his number 46 on the season, to put Seattle back up 4-3 heading into the bottom of the third. Let's see if the Mets got another comeback set of runs to in them today. All right. Mets will send up Alvarez to lead off the third inning. Sorry, that's Alonso, not Alvarez. Very quickly, it's 1-1 on Pete Alonso. And Pete grounds out softly to the catcher, who flips over to first for the first out. That'll bring up Jeff McNeil, who doubled in the last inning. McNeil eventually scored with 2 outs on an RBI single by Francisco Alvarez. And McNeil is quickly down 0-2. McNeil takes the ball high for ball 1-2. See if McNeil can battle back and get on base somehow. Fouls off the next pitch. We'll do it again at 1-2. McNeil fouls off the next one. We'll keep doing it at 1-2. And McNeil fouls off yet another one. And McNeil strikes out swinging for the second out of the inning. And that'll bring up Vientos, who popped out to third base after McNeil's double in the second inning. And he quickly takes inside ball for ball 1. And Vientos pops out to first base for the third out of the inning. And the Mets failed to score for the first time and still trail the Seattle Mariners 4-3 heading into the top of the fourth. Well, let's see if Manaea can hold Seattle to no runs for the first time this game. Seattle's has scored in every single one of the first 3 innings, one in both the first and the second inning, and then two on the third inning on a Cal Raleigh 2-run bomb for his 46th of the season. And Seattle will send Garver, who homered in the second inning, I believe. And Manaea quickly falls behind 2-0 to Garver. Called strike one, 2-1 to Garver. Ball 3-1. And Manaea gives off a leadoff walk to Mitch Garver, which you never want to see. And that'll bring up Solano, who quickly takes outside for ball 1. And Manaea is able to get Solano to fly out to left field for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Crawford. Oh, Crawford lines out to center field, really for the second out of the inning. And just like that, 2 outs. Let's see if we can retire Young, the number 9 hitter. If we do that, we will have the first time holding Seattle scoreless in any inning. And Manaea quickly starts with the cold strike, 0-1. And Young hits a ground rule double. I guess we lucked out on that. Garver could not score. So that is second and third with 2 outs. And we go back to the top of the order. We need an out here. Just like that, it's 1-1. Next pitch is fouled off. Manaea ahead 1-2. And he strikes out swinging. Manaea gets out of the inning. Seattle threatens but do not score. And the Mets come back to bat in the bottom of the fourth, still trailing 4-3. All right. Mullins leads off the inning and quickly falls behind 0-2. Heaney fouls off the next pitch. We'll do it again at 0-2. Next pitch is a ball, 1-2. And Mullins strikes out swinging for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Alvarez, who tied up the game in the second inning, I believe, with a 2-out RBI single that drove in Jeff McNeil. And Albie takes ball one. Next pitch is a called strike to even it up at 1-1. Another called strike, 1-2. Albie's behind now. And he calls a timeout. And Alvarez strikes out swinging. 2 down. That'll bring up Ronnie Mauricio with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. And Mauricio takes a called strike. And he takes a ball. It is now 1-1 to Mauricio. Next pitch is a ball. It's 2-1. And Mauricio swings to the next strike. 2-2. Mauricio fouls off the next pitch. We'll do it again at 2-2. And he fouls off the next pitch. We'll do it again at 2-2. And Mauricio singles on a line drive to right field. Mauricio's second hit of the evening to keep the inning going. You gotta love to see that from Mauricio, who's been struggling at the plate lately. And Lindor takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0. Lindor also having a pretty good start to the evening, 2-2. And Mauricio steals second base for his 4th stolen base of the season. And now he's in scoring position if Lindor can somehow get a base hit. And Lindor takes a cold strike, 2-1. Lindor fouls off the next pitch to even up the count at 2-2. And the next pitch is a ball, way high. And we have a full count. We got Soto on deck, just in case Lindor is able to get on base. And Francisco Lindor homers on a fly ball to right field, scoring himself and Ronnie Mauricio and giving the Mets the lead 5-4. Lindor's third hit of the evening, his second home run, and a big one, putting the Mets back up on top 5-4 in the bottom of the fourth. Big time showing from Lindor. His 24th of the season and a huge home run. And Juan Soto homers, his 30th of the season. And the Mets take a 6-4 lead on back-to-back home runs by Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto. And that'll bring up Brandon Nimmo with 2 outs. And Nimmo adds a double of his own to keep the inning going. And that'll bring up Pete Alonso. Base hit will score Brandon Nimmo. And Pete quickly takes ball 1 way outside. 1-0 to Pete Alonso. The next pitch is a called strike to even up the count at 1-1. Pete swings through the next strike, and it's behind 1-2, and then calls timeout. Be nice if Pete can choke up on that bat and try to dunk one out and try to drive in Nimmo. Pete takes ball 2, 2-2. And ball three, now a full count to Pete Alonso with Brandon Nimmo on second base. And Pete Alonso flies out to right field, ending the inning for the New York Mets. But not before they regained the lead on back-to-back home runs by Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto, as the Mets now lead 6-4 heading into the top of the fifth. All right, Manaea still working in the top of the fifth. And he faces Cal Raleigh, who did a two-run blast in the third inning to give the Seattle Mariners the lead at the time. One and one to Cal Raleigh. And Raleigh fouls off the next pitch and falls behind 1-2. And Manaea gets Cal Raleigh to pop out to second baseman Jeff McNeil for the first out of the inning. And Manaea quickly gets ahead of Rodriguez 1-2. And Rodriguez fouls off the next pitch. We'll do it again at 1-2. Fouls off another pitch. And we'll do it again. And Manaea gets Rodriguez down on strikes. 2 down. That'll bring up Suarez. Who fouls off the first pitch. 0-1. The next pitch is a ball, even at 1-1. And Suarez is hit by pitch and will take a base. And Manaea starts off 1-0 to Canzone. Canzone fouls off the next pitch. 1-1. Next pitch is a ball. 2-1. All right, Manaea falls behind 3-1 to Canzone. We cannot give up another free base. Swinging strike. Full count now to Canzone. And Canzone calls a timeout. And Canzone lines out to first base. Pete Alonso makes the grab. And that'll do it for the Seattle Mariners in the top of the fifth, as Manaea is able to hold them scoreless for 2 consecutive innings. Seem to have settled down after a shaky start. And the Mets come to bat. They will send up McNeil, Vientos, and Mullins to start the bottom of the fifth. All right, we have a pitching change. Edward Bizardo will replace Luis Castillo here in the bottom of the fifth as the Mets lead 6-4. And McNeil quickly flies out to center field for the first out of the frame. Vientos is quickly in a 1-1 count. Swinging strike from Vientos. 1-2. Vientos really looking lost at the plate lately. And he calls a timeout. Mets are hoping Vientos can figure it out and regain some of his form from last season. And Vientos is called out on strikes, 2 outs. And Mullins up at the plate. And Mullins takes the first pitch. 1-0. The next pitch is in play, and Mullins grounds out to the first baseman, who flips over to Bizardo for the third out of the frame. And that'll wrap it up for the fifth inning as Seattle comes up in the top of the sixth, still trailing 6-4. They will send up Garver, Solano, and Crawford. And we have a pitching change. We have Tyler Rogers coming in to replace Sean Manaea. here to start the top of the sixth. All right, Rogers gets Garver to ground out for the first out of the evening. And just like that, it's 2-1 to Solano. And Solano singles on a line drive to center field. As Seattle brings the tying run to the plate in the form of J.P. Crawford. And the pitch to Crawford is in play. And Crawford grounds out to second baseman Jeff McNeil, who flips it over to Pete. 2 down as Solano goes to second base. And that'll bring up number 9 hitter, Young. And Young takes ball 1, 1-0. And Young singles on a sharp line drive to center field, scoring Solano, and cuts the Mets lead to 6-5. And Rogers quickly starts off 1-1. Next pitch is in play. And it's a ground out to third base. Ronnie Mauricio flips to Jeff McNeil to get Young out at second, but not before Seattle tacks on a run to cut the Mets' lead to 6-5 as the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the sixth. You like to see the Mets add some insurance runs here at this moment. They will send up Alvarez, Mauricio, and Lindor. Hey, we got a viewer. Welcome, viewer. We're watching these Mets potentially give this game away. Seattle's been chipping away at this lead. We'll see if Alvarez can start off a good inning for us. Alvarez has had a much better eye at the plate since he's gotten back from AAA. He starts off 1-0. Well, hopefully Lindor has some more bags up his tricks. Some more tricks up his sleeve, that is. And Alvarez lines out to center field for the first out of the inning. Lindor's been money all evening. We're going to need some more magic from him today. Yes, we need to score some runs. That's right. Stay hungry. Thank you, Nida. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, this is frustrating to watch, but like I said, we're still winning. We need to tack on some more runs, a lot more runs, because this Seattle offense, they can score anytime they want. It's frustrating because, these guys like Lindor's having a heck of a game. I'd hate for the Mets to lose after Lindor put up 2 home runs like that. Like, he needed that. And we're just not used to losing when Lindor has a performance like this. Like, it would be a punch to the gut if we end up losing and Lindor has a 3-hit game, especially with 2 home runs. So we'll see. We need to get on base and we need to let Lindor keep doing keep mashing the ball. And Mauricio strikes out swinging. Mauricio was having a good night before that strikeout. He had a couple hits. And that'll bring up Lindor. I don't know. Third home run from Lindor? That'd be nice. He's batting right-handed. He doesn't usually hit home runs, that many home runs right-handed. But this will be a good time. You just feel like Seattle's going to try to make that push to come back. So we got to hold them off. And it'd be nice if we can score some more runs before we get them a chance to bat. And Lindor swings to the first ball, strike one. Come on, Lindor. Need a little bit more magic from you. Little bit more magic. And Lindor lines out sharply. So that's the first time Lindor got out this evening. And unfortunately, the Mets don't score this inning. So now it's up to the bullpen to hold it. I don't think we're going to see Tyler Rogers back out there tonight. I think he's done. We'll see who we're going to throw up. Hopefully, whoever it is, I want to see Justin Hageman pitch again. Justin Hageman pitched great that last game where he threw 4 scoreless innings in that game versus the Braves. The game where Pete broke the record. All right, so Seattle will send up Cal Raleigh and Rodriguez and Suarez. So the core of their lineup. Still not sure who we're going to put up as pitcher. I don't think Tyler Rogers. All right, we do have a pitching change. We got Ryan Helsley. All right, well, Mets have been bagging on Ryan Helsley. I still need to see more outings for him for me to think about the fact that he's a bust. Mets fans are already dogging the guy. I still think that he has good enough stuff to enhance our bullpen. Let's see what happens today. This is a tough part of the order that he's facing. So it's not like he's getting an easy inning here. And Helsley starts off ball 1. Comes inside on Cal Raleigh. That pitch was oof. Cal Raleigh's batting lefty. That's kind of a pitch that lefties kill. Maybe he might have gotten away with one right there. All right. Next pitch is low for ball 2. So right away, Helsley falls behind Cal Raleigh 2-0. And just like that, we have a mound visit. Well, you hate to see another rough start for Helsley, but so far he's fallen off. He's fallen behind 2-0 to a pretty dangerous hitter in Cal Raleigh, who's already hit a 2-run home run for the Mariners, and has a total of 46. So just 4 shy of 50 already for Cal Raleigh. And Helsley gets a called strike for 2-1. Misses ball 3. 3-1 to Cal Raleigh. Dangerous hitters count right here. You got to be very careful with Raleigh. He can put it out the ballpark in a hurry. And we get a called strike. Full count to Cal Raleigh. You hate to lose him, but at the same time, you also hate to give up a game-tying home run to this guy. So maybe a walk is better than a home run. And he fouls off the pitch, and we'll do it again at full count. And the next pitch is in play. And Cal Raleigh doubles on a ground ball to left field. And just like that, Seattle has the leadoff man on second base to start the top of the 7th. Not a great start for Ryan Helsley. And the first pitch to Rodriguez is a cold strike, 0-1. And Rodriguez fouls off the next pitch and falls behind quickly, 0-2. You'd love to see a strikeout right here, I'll tell you that much. And Rodriguez does strike out for the first out of the inning. Big strikeout. And that'll bring up the dangerous Suarez. Suarez so far is hitless with 2 strikeouts and a hit by pitch. And Suarez falls off the first pitch, 0-1. He swings through the next pitch, now 0-2. So Helsley way in front of Suarez. And Suarez fouls off the next pitch. We'll do it again at 0-2. Okay, Suarez doubles to drive in Cal Raleigh, and Seattle has tied it up at 6 apiece. So the leadoff double comes back to haunt us as Seattle ties it up. But more importantly, they put the go-ahead run on second base with just 1 out. So Helsley's got to stop the bleeding here. Just like that, we have a pitching change. And Brooks Raley will come in to replace Ryan Helsley. All right, Brooks Raley quickly starts off Canzone 0-1. We got to get a stop here, folks. It's now tie game. And, we just can't seem to hold off this Seattle offense. It's 1-1 to Canzone, who puts the ball in play. And Canzone singles on a ground ball to center field, scoring Eugenio Suarez as Seattle takes a 7-6 lead in the top of the 7th. So the Mets bullpen strikes again and fails to hold the lead. 2-1 on Garver. Now 3-1. And if you're a Mets fan watching this, you gotta be upset about seeing the same thing happen over and over again. And Garver walks, bringing up Canzone to second base and Solano to the plate. Just very frustrating to see if you're a Mets fan. And the Mets desperately need a double play ball to get out of this inning and stop the bleeding. I'm sure my Facebook Mets fans are going nuts right now. No, Mets fans reacting pretty bleak right now on Facebook. But wow. All right. And Solano doubles on a fly ball to left field, scoring Canzone, moving Mitch Garver over to third as Seattle increases their lead to 8-6. Crawford takes ball 1-0. Well, the Mets are going to have to find some more comeback magic if they're going to hope to pull out this one. Really quickly ahead, 1-2 to Crawford. And Crawford strikes out swinging for the second out of the inning. 1 out away to getting out of this with just a 2-run deficit. And Seattle sends their number 9 batter, Young, to the plate. and it's 1-1 to Young. All right, Young doubles on a ground ball to right field and scores Mitch Garver as Seattle now takes a 10-6 lead. And the wheels might have officially fallen off on this one. Well, if you're a Mets fan, this one has been tough to watch as we scored a decent number of runs, but could not keep Seattle from scoring. Seattle so far has posted a crooked number in the seventh inning, total of 5 runs to regain the lead and put a decent amount of distance between themselves and the Mets. Here in the top of the seventh. Oh, Mets finally get that third out, but not before Seattle scores 5 runs. The Mets offense have their work cut out for them. They try to close this gap. Mets are going to send Soto, Nimmo, and Alonso to the plate in the bottom of the seventh. And we got a pitching change for Seattle as Gabe Spear replaces Caleb Ferguson. Spear will face off with Juan Soto to lead off the bottom of the seventh as the Mets trail 10-6. All right, Juan takes the first pitch, ball one. Yeah, I might only have this half inning left in me. And Juan pops out to third base in foul territory for the first out of the inning. It's quickly 2-2 to Brandon Nimmo. And Nimmo strikes out for the second out of the frame. Mets now have 2 outs, and they send Pete Alonso to the plate. Oh and 1 to Pete Alonso as he takes a cold strike. Ball 1 to even up the count at 1-1. And Pete takes a cold strike for 1-2. And Pete fouls off the next pitch, and we'll do it again at 1-2. Pete calls timeout. And Pete strikes out on a foul tip. And that'll do it for the Mets in the bottom of the seventh as they fail to score and still trail the Seattle Mariners by a score of 10-6. Well, folks, I don't know about you, but I am certainly had it with this game. Super frustrating to watch. We didn't really have a whole lot of participation. I think it's a good time to just call it a day, and I'll find out maybe in the morning whether the Mets did anything to come back. I hope they do. I don't doesn't look like they're going to, not from what I've seen today. And that's unfortunate. But anyhow, I'll end the stream here, and hopefully the Mets will mount to come back, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Anyhow, thanks for rocking with Metsflix, and we'll see you at the next live stream. Ciao.